Dr. Philip Stine is a former executive with a major international nonprofit organization. Since moving to Wilmington nearly 11 years ago, Stine has been active in community affairs in the Democratic Party, serving on the New Hanover County Commission for Women, the Sister Cities Commission, and the Child Advocacy Commission, and was one of the founding board members of the African American Heritage Foundation of Wilmington. He is also on the board of WHQR. Stine holds a PhD from the University of Michigan, is an internationally known scholar and author, and is active in the Episcopal Church at the local and national level.
For allegedly employing a neighborhood school plan that hinders diversity within individual schools. With recent redistricting, New Hanover County is enforcing a similar neighborhood school plan under which some schools maintain mostly all white or all minority student populations. Parsley Elementary, for example, has a student population that is 97% white and only 3% minority. Question, do you agree that New Hanover County should continue enforcing neighborhood schools defined here as a districting plan that places students in the school nearest their homes? Please explain why you agree or disagree.
Mr. Stine.
Actually, we didn't quite get around to with the bus. We still have busing despite the programs they came up with next year. A lot of the downtown kids are bused by far. I spent most of my career outside the United States, most of my life outside the United States. My work in the United States has been with the same thing, with every kind of culture, religion, ethnic group. We are seriously depriving our middle-class kids of the experience of having interaction with other races and other socioeconomic classes by separating them. They benefit from being in mixed schools. We know that kids from the lower socioeconomic class also benefit from being in mixed schools. The tests show that they do better when they're in a mixed environment. And therefore, it's to the benefit of all that we ensure good mixed schools.
It can be argued that in this community, the school system is a key component to economic development. What initiatives need to be in place or need to be reinforced that are already in place to produce graduates who are stronger in science, technology, engineering, and math, and therefore better prepared for a sophisticated 21st century workforce?
Mr. Stine.
If we're going to attract business and industry and high-tech industry in particular, for example, to New Hanover County, we have to offer those people who are coming here two things. We have to offer their employees that they bring with them a good school system, otherwise they won't want to come. But we also have to have a density of qualified people that they can draw on to have for the workforce that's here. And therefore, it is absolutely crucial to the economy of this area that we have solid teaching in the sciences and in the math, because that is the area to come. One of the things that we rank 25th in the world right now in those areas. We're being beaten on that. One thing we can do is maybe lengthen the school year, but probably that'll never happen. But one of the things I see in science classrooms, don't teach to the test, teach to the experience. Foster the curiosity that kids have and make science be something that grows out of that. You can teach teachers how to do that. They can help the kids with their natural curiosity get into the sciences and get into math and find it as something worthwhile.
She says research shows that early brain development, especially in the first 3 years of life, is shaped by home and community environments. Supportive, nurturing families and caregivers are critical in laying the foundation for a child's education. What do you see as the best way to help prepare the youngest children in New Hanover County for success in school?
One thing the Harlem Children's Zone has taught us, and many of the other programs around the United States have done the same, and that is that even kids coming even from extremely miserable home lives are able to learn how to do math, science, and reading at a respectable level if they have the right kind of teaching. So we cannot wash our hands of any kids. We have to say that the school does have a responsibility. But I would also like to say that I have seen some things here in New Hanover County that we should all be very proud of. I visited one of the schools in the very poorest neighborhoods where the principal had a great deal of difficulty getting parental involvement. Both parents worked, they were mobile, they never came. And what the principal did eventually was arrange to be there at the school on Saturdays and weekends for the parents to come. She went with the kids to the homes. That school is still underperforming as far as state requirements are concerned, but they did come up about 10 points last year. And so it was the extra effort on the part of that principal and some of the teachers that has made an impact. And so we should never wash our hands of any kids. We can go ahead, all of them can learn.
Hi. Now let's go to our first audience question. Why don't you go ahead, tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Casey McCreary, and I'm from New Hanover Camp.
Thank you, Casey. And what question would you like to pose to the candidates?
I would like to thank all the candidates. I would like to remind us what Colin Powell's wife said today when she said the Messiah greeting is, "How are the children?" And I think that's the most important thing. My question is, given the rate of dropout in high school, as much as 62% for African Americans, 34% for Caucasians, what is it that you have done on the board to ameliorate that, or what do you plan to do if you get in? Thank you.
Mr. Stine.
It's a great question. The overall funding for New Hanover County schools is above state average. We're second per student only to Durham. Yet we rank 83rd out of 115 local education agencies in four-year graduation rate. Looking deeper, the results for our black students, we are actually 97th. And for our economically disadvantaged students, we rank 109th. That's not an acceptable figure. That is a poor figure. How do we start it? I think Nick Rose has it right. What we know is that if kids can read at a third grade level, by the time they're in third grade, they will probably graduate. And the way that we focus on getting high school graduation is to put all of our focus on those first 4 years, kindergarten through third grade.
This is being sponsored by the Cape Fear Economic Development Council, so I have a question that involves the economics of running a school system, the fiscal responsibility of the board members and the candidates hoping to be board members. It's my understanding that we have capacity in certain middle schools within our county that sits empty while we put temporary classrooms at other locations at a great expense to the county, simply to avoid having to face the parents about the busing issue. Now, this is just hard economic decisions that need to be made about using the facilities that we currently have. I'd like both the candidates and the existing school board members to address the waste of funds.
Mr. Stine.
Fiscal responsibility begins with a clear vision of what we want our school system to be, and then a strategy for realizing it. And that means that what informs the decisions that we make about where to put our money, where to put who to hire, everything that we do is based on the strategy that we have towards going toward a particular vision. What has distressed me, as I've been sitting in board meetings for a while, is how most people are not thinking strategically, and there does not seem to be a clear vision. And the reason I say that is because decisions are made ad hoc and not made directed towards the particular goals that we should have or particular strategies that they have. Mr. Rhodes talked about the empty buildings, empty classrooms, and what we have to do instead with the mobile units. That's not good use of our funds. Overall, we know that we can do better. We don't need to get more money. We have to make better use of the money that we have.
Where you're from.
My name is Catherine Fleming. I'm from New Hanover County. I am a biomechanist by trade, but I'm the mother of a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. So my 7-year-old is in the public school system, and my 4-year-old will be soon. I heard each of the candidates identify important qualities that make a successful teacher, as well as unique challenges that the socioeconomically advantaged and disadvantaged face. If we were to go back to busing for diversity, socioeconomic diversity within the public school system, my question is, how would you propose that each teacher could design an educational program to address the widely varying needs of these two different student populations within the same classroom? Thank you.
Okay.
I have to correct one thing Mr. Hayes said. He said only the one school, Holly Shelter, was underpopulated. Actually, there's 304 empty seats, 302 empty seats at Holly Shelter, 294 empty seats at DC Virgo, and 63 empty seats at Williston. We have 3 schools seriously underpopulated of the middle schools. Now, to answer this question,
We do not have rebuttals.
that was a misstatement that needed to be corrected.
Apparently, have rebuttals.
Back to the question. I think that one of the things that we are lacking is teaching our teachers how to handle diversity. And that one of the things that we would do in professional development of teachers is teach them how to handle the different kinds of learning styles, kids from different ethnic backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, different racial backgrounds, different language backgrounds, all of that. That's part of being a good teacher, to be able to handle that. There are ways to teach that. There are very good programs in the United States that do that, and we should incorporate that in our training.
Comes from Susan Coleman, who is a homemaker. The question is, do you believe that New Hanover County schools are utilizing the Magnet Schools Assistance Program to the fullest extent possible?
Mr. Stine.
Just to back up what Mr. Rhodes was saying about the fact that they are not magnet schools, Snipes has 29 white children and 422 black children. So that has not been successful as a magnet school in getting kids to increase diversity. But a true magnet school, I think, can increase diversity. I think it's one of the things that we can focus on. And how do you do that? You then have to have the programs there that will work. You have to have the teachers there who can make those programs. For example, at Snipes, they need to have teachers who are really into the arts, who really understand how that affects the learning pattern of children. How that through art, kids can learn other things as well. If you have teachers who are trained in that way, then Snipes would be a very exciting school, and there would be much more attraction, and people would be coming there.
Mr. Stine.
I'm running because I care. I care about our children because who are not getting a first-class education. I care that too many of our kids are dropping out and have a very bleak future. I care about our community because we need to attract new business and industry, but with a poor school system we can't. We can have a first-class system. We can work together to develop broader vocational goals. I believe I have the experience and skills to guide us to a better future. I'll work with the administration, the parents, and the business community. Early voting begins October 14th. Vote for Phil Stine.